that each of the smaller craft, other ferries, a longboat here, a flat-bottomed launch there, cutters and yawls, and even a few little punts, was apparently free to plot its own course at any angle it wished, channels and charts be damned. One big sidewheel steamer called the Novelty was pulling away from a pier straight ahead, as another, the Intelligence, steamed in for a landing from the north, its puffy tails of black smoke and white steam extending almost the whole width of the river, like some heavenly bridge. The Davy Crockett's engine slowed. Ben was at the bow, bags in hand. At the next pier over, cotton was being unloaded from a Charleston steamer. He wondered if these very bales might now be shipped across the Atlantic to his father's mills in Lancashire. The year Ben had worked there, the arriving American cotton bales had always reminded him of coffins. Coffins in a dream, white and soft and impossibly heavy. This morning they looked only like cotton. Ben stepped off and wandered into the confusion. He looked and listened and smelled more acutely than he ever had before. His preconceptions were already sloughing away as the actual America, bit by vivid bit, began to replace accreted years of wishful speculation. His last look at the old world had been Liverpool's orderly stone wharves. This first glimpse of the new world was all rotting wood and ramshackle sheds, a jumble of painted signs and paper billboards and chalked words and prices on blackboards. Everything and everyone seemed to shout and hawk. A few yards away, a respectable-looking older woman was addressing a pair of respectable-looking younger men, one of whom was not just laughing aloud but guffawing in the street so madly that he seemed about to tumble over. The bustle of people and carts and animals seemed greater than in London, wilder, and even slightly desperate, but also somehow happier. And strangers looked at him as intently as he looked at each of them, looked him straight in the eye, as no Londoner who wasn't a whore or a lunatic would think of doing. In this place of which he had only read and dreamed, he had the odd sense of arriving home. A cosmopolite, the friendly American newspaper man he met on the ship this morning had called him. Ben savored the phrase, hoped that it might become true. It was a word that his brother Philip used as a polite disparagement for artists and feckless Europeans and Jews. In the footpath on the far side of the street, he spotted two Negroes, a man and a boy, maybe father and son, starting to sing at the tops of their lungs and clap in time to their tune. He got the whole dang world, he got the whole world in his hands. Ben's mouth dropped open at the sight. He had stepped off the boat only a minute ago, and here was minstrelsy. No cocoa butter and burnt cork on white men, no West End stage parody, but the real thing, in the American street. Their associate, a white boy, held a tin bowl he shook for coins from onlookers. Ben handed over his remaining penny and lifted his bags to go. He's got the whole world in his hand. As he walked toward a cluster of hackney cabs, he happened to glance at the smallest sign among the scores that surrounded him. He was walking down a street called Liberty. His cab driver was friendly and talkative in just the brassy way Americans were reputed to be. In their first minute together, he had asked Ben his age, 26, and if he was planning to stay in New York for a while, yes. "That there is the superb Trinity Church," the driver said as he turned north, pointing like a hired guide at a brand-new fake Gothic spire. "Anglican?" Ben asked. "Aristocratic," the driver said without a smile, "and the tallest doggone thing on the continent." "And that fine place?" Ben asked of a building across Broadway. "Is an army headquarters?" Two black men in regimental uniforms stood guard at either side of the main entrance. "Because of the darkies at the door? You are a comical one, if I can say so, sir." It was the Lafayette Bazaar, an arcade of shops, reading rooms, and photographers' studios. The two men in blue costumes, the driver explained, are just, well,